Welcome to Pinball Mayhem. My name's Jeremy, and we are going to dive deep into this saloon mech, which is part of the upgrade kit for Cactus Canyon, which was made by Chicago Gaming. It's a really cool kit, but it can get really frustrating if it does not work properly. We're going to go into some troubleshooting, why you might need to do this adjustment, and how to do it. So let's get started. So, what are some of the reasons why you would want to pull the top off that mech and start working on it? If you're playing multiple games, let's say, and the door stays either down or up, and it doesn't move for the whole game until you shut it off the game and restart it, then you probably got a switch error. As long as those lights and stuff are working on the mechanism, that means it's communicating, and your game starts and all that stuff, that means it's working okay, except for the door, then you need to look at the switches. Also, right next to the word free play there we just saw, if you've got a small dot next to it, that indicates there's an error with the game. It's called a credit dot. If you've got one of those and your door's not moving, then you definitely need to look at things. Because this mechanism can physically move in test mode, but yet still have the switch not work correctly. Let's pop the top off and we'll show you those switches. Luckily, the saloon mech cover is very easy to remove. There's two screws in the back, which if you installed this kit yourself, you'll know about. But if you're like a second order or something, let's say this, I recorded this in 2025, let's say you're watching this a year or two later, you'll know what to do. Two screws on the back, take those off, put them in a safe place. And you need to pull up the motor for the train just a little bit, and then it slides out like this. It's really a nice thick quality piece. So this is the mechanism that has the door in it. Okay, here's a direct overhead view. This is the switch for the open. And there's also a switch for the closed, but to get to that closed we have to pull off this panel. If this board has not been removed before, there is a black zip tie right here that's tied to this black block. You need to cut that before this board can be removed. There are two screws on the front of this board that need to be removed so you can lift it up out of the way. The screws are here and here. You don't have to remove it all the way, just back it out till the board is loose. A little bit more. The board is loose, but very carefully support the board and pull out the USB connector on the back here. This connector is fragile, so you want to be real careful with it. But since we've cut that cable tie off, we can get this board up out of the way carefully, and we can see our other switch here, right down there. So these are the two screws that you'd use to adjust the lower switch. And this switch has a lot of adjustment, a lot of forward and backward adjustment, so you need to be careful with it. But there's something also very important. See where it pivots on the end here? That point, if you tighten this screw a little too tight, the switch will bind up and it won't open correctly or won't open reliably. That was some of the problem I was having with mine. If you listen very carefully, you can hear the actual clicking of the switch. It's also very possible to adjust the switch too close there till the door won't close all the way. It'll stop partially up. So it's very important for testing that you listen to the switch. You should hear it click open and click closed. Let me grab my socket and I'll show you what happens when they get this too tight. I'm just going to put a little extra force on this guy. Not much at all. I'm not cranking on it very tight at all. But see if you can listen to what will happen. It won't open all the time. Actually, there, it didn't even open at all. Listen to it. The switch is not opening. I'll hold the door open and I'll loosen this just a little bit. There it went. So if I tighten it, this is how the game was. I played the game, I adjusted the top switch here. We'll go into detail how that can be adjusted. But on the bottom one here, it was just a fuzz too tight on my game. Basically what was happening is it wasn't open, the switch was not clicking in both directions all the time. It would do it sometimes, but not all the time. Let's focus on the top one. We'll put this plate back on here. Before I put it in, I'm gonna hook up my USB cable. It's a lot easier to do when the board's loose. Now we want to take a look at the top switch. But I hear you say, but Jeremy, how do we get this door up to the top? Well, you could pull it, but it's an awful lot of stress on this band here. So what you do is you turn on the game, we go into the test menu, and I'll show you where to go to adjust, to move the door up to the top. Then we'll shut the game off and do our adjustments. Sorry about all the reflections there, but just the camera angle I got, and I need to get the access to the door. It's a little hard with the stand to put the camera on. So first off, what you want to do, open the coin door, press the enter button, go down to tests, and we want the top one, USB saloon there. And what we're going to do, whoops, sorry. We want to hit enter again on USB saloon. Boy, it's a little dark here. Let me see if I can hold the camera. It might get a little jittery here on you. I apologize for that. So if I hit that enter button right now on open door, the saloon is going to open and we'll see our switch states. Again, sorry for the shaky camera. So this was the open switches, and we said okay, and if we look down here at our mechanism, the door is now open. If we wanted to look at the other switch, let's say our door was stuck open, again, do a little adjustment here. Sorry for the shaky camera. We move the volume button down, then we'll hit enter. And this is showing our switch state. So our switch worked, and it says the door status is closed and motor status is okay. We'll look down at our mech, and it's down. Alright, now we're going to hit open door. Alright, now we've got the door in the open position. I'm going to shut off the game, and I'll show you how to adjust the switch and some very important things about that switch. What's very important for the initial adjustment of the switch is, unfortunately, this switch has a very short lever on it. So proper adjustment is turning the switch counterclockwise, maybe loosening the screws just a little bit, and we'll go talk about these screws, very important on these screws, but turn it counterclockwise just a little bit till that switch blade comes into contact with the door. And again, testing is the same as we did for the lower, you just listen. So my door isn't even actually coming up all the way, but I'm okay with that. It doesn't have to. As long as the ball can get under it and you don't see it, my door is coming up plenty far. But we're listening for the click on open and close. So again, if the switch is out of adjustment, this lever will completely miss the door and go behind it, and that'll cause an error, because it might not always do that. You do not want to loosen the screws all the way on here. This screw in the back is long and it has a nut on it. Mine no longer has that nut because once it's off, it's very difficult to get back on. Underneath this switch, it does have a plate that has threads in it that holds the sandwiches the switch together. So that's good. But again, the same rule applies. If you over tighten this, it will not function. The switch will seize right up. All right, let's button this guy back up carefully and avoid pinching any wires, and we'll wrap it up. Here's a tip for installing the saloon roof. Lift up on the train motor back here slightly when you're putting it in. That'll help out a lot. Again, careful not to pinch any wires. And another big tip is don't over tighten the screws on the top. If you really reef on them, you'll risk cracking the plastic. If they come loose for you, or they fall down back here into Bart, then you might want to put a little bit of Loctite on, a little blue Loctite, low quality, or low strength, I should say. I'm in the test menu here, and you can actually turn on the lights for the flasher and the faces and stuff, so this is kind of a cool view that you really won't see in the game, because the flasher usually is not on strong. Maybe, who knows, maybe in the future they'll change that, because it really lights up the door quite nicely. But let's test it out. Open door. And close door. And open door. Now, you see my door isn't quite going up all the way? Actually, it's pretty darn close. That looks good, but you definitely cannot see it from the player perspective. Here's something else interesting. If we exit out of here, another way to test your door, make sure it's working okay, is that whenever you start, whenever the game starts from an off state, the door will go down. Let's get out of the menu here, and we'll fire up the game. So, that's another way to make sure at least the open switch is working. If the door goes down when you fire up the game, then that switch is working. I hope you didn't think that was too bad of a repair. Definitely worth doing, definitely worth checking out, even if you're only inspecting the switches. But I think during shipment and whatnot, these switches can get out of adjustment. And like I said, you can't have them be very tight, otherwise they will just not function reliably. If you got any questions, please let me know, but this is definitely something you should check out if your mechanism is being intermittent. But like I said, as long as the game boots up and whatnot, it's probably the switches if your door stops moving during the game. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you check out the rest of the channel, and I do have an extensive playlist of all the fixes and tweaks and stuff that I've done to my Cactus Canyon, which was purchased in, let's see, 6 of 2022. So I've had a little while, and it's really working good. I love it.
Welcome to Cactus Canyon. Hey, Miss Big Bart, tough guy. Messing with the wrong hombre. Guess I'll just fall down now.